Michael Jackson. We're pleased to welcome now William Russell, advisor and state director for Mississippi, the Trump campaign. Hey, William, what's going on, man?
Morning, Gerard. How are you?
Well, we're winding this thing down, aren't we? We're inside a week, just a few days away. We're going to wind it up. I'm feeling pretty good at this point. I think the map is shaping up quite positively for Mr. Trump. And I got him at 296 electoral votes. That's my prediction, folks. Write it down right now. 270 to win, of course. What are you hearing inside the campaign? How do you guys feel?
Well, we don't want to get too overconfident, right? But I think that Donald Trump has been overperforming, continue to overperform for a while now, right? I mean, he is. Let's look at what happened yesterday, right? He gets in a garbage truck and rides around a parking lot and kind of shows off to every man. Like, you can't make this kind of stuff up. This is one of the reasons why I've enjoyed working for him for 9 years. Like, the guy is just a regular guy.
Right.
And that's really translating to the American people right now, I think.
Yeah. It seems like it. And I was talking earlier, it seems like he's having fun, much more so than he did in the prior two cycles, where perhaps at this point seemed a little more stressed out. And I don't know, you know what I'm saying, just a little more overbearing and not as relaxed when he's on the stage.
Right.
Yesterday it was just such an interesting look, him up there with his classic, I was talking about this earlier, his classic suit on, his coat off, of course. He was saying, "Where's my coat?" "No, you're wearing that vest up there. It makes you look thinner." "Okay, I'm all over it," So that people like that sort of stuff, man. I do. You like to see someone who's running for the highest office in the land just be kind of an average, everyday person, and that's what I think he's exhibiting. It's not this fake, sort of choreographed look and set of talking points. Do you feel like that's having a positive impact on the campaign? I do.
We think about. I'll use a good example. Joe Rogan's podcast that he went on a couple of days ago, last week I think it was. Rogan identifies the reason why Trump has been successful, right? He is not the average politician that gets up with some canned remarks, pre-planned, follows the script. This is what's been signed off by a team of people that I'm supposed to say. Donald Trump is truly himself. And that shows out throughout the campaign cycle, throughout on the campaign trail and the engagements that he has. I mean, there's no other guy who could walk into a McDonald's. There's no other politician who could walk into a McDonald's and say to that employee working behind the counter, "I know this menu better than you do." But that's such a good line. It's such a good line, and he's so personable in that way. And that's the dichotomy between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, who's this very much canned, because the moment she goes off script, the moment you have a real engagement with her, it's word salad. It's a mess. And she's changed her position. You just don't know what she stands for. Donald Trump is clear cut in everything that he does. And that shines through, right? That's one of the reasons why he's winning. It's like I said, like we started this entire conversation with, we don't want to get too overconfident here. It's incredibly important to have Mississippians still go to the polls in droves to make it too big to rig, right? That's the line that we're using right now, to make it too big to rig. And listen, I want to give a shout out to the thousands of Mississippians out there who have signed up on Trump Force 47 to do phone calls, to do door knocking, to get engaged, to travel to other states to engage there too. The Mississippians have done exactly what they've needed to do this election. We're not all that concerned that we're going to lose Mississippi. We still need to get out and vote, but we need to be helping other people, and that's calling into other states or door knocking or whatever, working in an office. Mississippians have done a great job of answering that call.
Yeah. So, William, what can we expect in the remaining 4 days for Mr. Trump? Will he visit the swing states? This is really the strategy that he employed in 2016 that I felt like honestly paid off and put him over Hillary Clinton on Election Day. Is she seemed to be more about staying at home and resting, and he was holding these big rallies in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, and then ultimately those went in his favor on election night, to the chagrin of the folks over there at MSNBC. Who could forget that night? Is that kind of what we can expect?
Yes, that's exactly right. So this is my third time doing this with the president. In 2016, I was in operations on the campaign, and in 2020, I was his trip director in the White House. So I've been to all of these days, these few waning days leading up to Election Day, watching him travel. And in 2020, in both of these examples, he was on the road hitting it all the time for the last 72 hours. We're doing 6 rallies in one day all across the swing states, and that's exactly what you're going to see here now too. Like, it's time. This is the time. We are driving turnout. We have to have people engaged, and Donald Trump is going to deliver his closing remarks, his closing arguments to the American public, which is a stark difference than where we are right now. This is economic revitalization. This is international diplomacy and security, foreign policy engagement and security. This is border security. Yeah. These are all issues that he won on in 2016, and he's gonna win again on them because this current administration just can't cut it.
What can we glean, if anything, William, from the early voting turnout? I heard a report this morning, perhaps, that in Pennsylvania, 40% of the expected votes to be cast are already in.
Mm-hmm. Excitement is what you can glean from that. There are a lot of people, a lot of Republicans who are excited to vote, and there are a lot of independents who are ready to move along away from the Biden-Harris administration and on to Donald Trump's, back to where we were 4 years ago, right? To economic success and stability. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this, is we're seeing people who don't usually vote re-engage because they're the Trump voter. We see traditional Republican voters and conservatives engaging. And we see the moderates, the independents that are out there that are just saying, I can put aside some of the drama that exists and focus more on what's best for this country, what's best for our family. I mean, you think about the average American right now and the kind of pressure that they're under economically when they're having to have 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet every month. Like, that's not what it used to be like. And so that's what they want to get back to. And they'll do whatever it takes to get back to that point. And Donald Trump is the proven leader, and they can do that. All of this happened under Democrat control, and it's something that Kamala Harris has talked about in the past. She talks about how Donald Trump is wrong for America, but what she fails to recognize is that 12 of the past 16 years in this country have been under Democrat control, and the only time we saw the economic prosperity that we saw was under Donald Trump.
It's unusual, is it not, William, that we have a candidate for president who has been the vice president the last 4 years, who in her campaign messaging says very little about any sort of accomplishments or benefits that they have delivered in the last 4 years.
It's all Trump all the time.
Yeah.
She is we joke about this. She's kind of the epitome of Trump derangement syndrome. She can't look past the Trump in front of her. Like, candidates, when you're running a political race, the campaign is there to put the candidate in the best position possible to win. But it's up to the candidate to get themselves across the finish line. There has to be that X factor, right? And Kamala Harris doesn't have that. Donald Trump does. He's proven it time and time again. We saw it as recently as yesterday. Kamala Harris doesn't have the engagement, the X factor that you need to get across the finish line. And because she doesn't have that, she flounders. Whenever she gets on the stump, whenever she's talking off teleprompter, it's word salad. You don't really know what she stands for. You don't really know what her objectives are, where she's going, right? And there's just... I continue to go back to the stability factor, right? That's what Americans are looking for right now. They're looking for stability across the board, and she does not project that. So she's not going to win just on the simple basis. Like, she can't even get her own messaging right.
Yeah, totally agree. I just find it unusual. It seems like you've been serving as the vice president the last 4 years. You sort of lead with, look at all these great things we did under my watch, and we don't get that. It's Donald Trump's a fascist. That's what we get.
That's all you get. That's all you get. No, it's good.
We appreciate you coming on, William. We'll probably talk to you again after the election. I look forward to that conversation, and let's have a good election day. Appreciate it, man.
We'll be there with a party hats on, celebrating. Thank you, Gerard.
Sounds good. We're coming right back, folks, in the Element Well